Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one and only Master Propaganda. Off here to a riveting 1v1 here from the Master League on Faymonville Approach. In the north stands Jibber, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. Trundling ahead here with the 1st Armoured Division, with a mission to smash through the Gothic line and push onwards to Rome. Here with the Armoured Battle Group, fast cause barracks into the even faster Jeep. In the south we have Caosak, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 1st Fallschirmjaeger Division, supported by other various elements here, tasked with withstanding this offensive until German Panthering Force be brought in. Straight down the road here we got Jibber's Jeep. Jeeping about here, catching the pioneers here as Caosak's already setting up here at defensive position around munitions point, and he's already finding himself a bit pushed off from that. As always, a big hearty thanks to my Patreon supporters for their continued and generous support. We've got a grenades with the Jeep here. Quickly find some light cover here as the Jeep, which is more or less at times bulletproof, making it difficult for the grenades to deal with it. Definitely one of the reasons I can't hope the upcoming balance patch in August, the end of August, hopefully tones this down a bit. But anyways, we'll have to see. Almost got it here though. And besides those wonderful Patreon supporters, and which, by the way, big thanks to Frost for joining these wonderful people and supporting the Propagandacast with his hard-earned money. So big thanks to all these people. And, of course, a big thanks to all the people who keep liking and commenting on my videos. It is a great way to help get my video up to more people that way. So big thanks to all these charming devils. Jeep in the center here. Grenades pushing northwards here. I mean, smart move, I think, ultimate by Caosak instead of pursuing here. Jeep, of course, it just pulls back, immediately conducts self-repair. So, very efficient unit there. Can be a bit of a tough element to deal with there for the Wehrmacht in the early game, even the DAC, to be honest. Rushing north with the scouts, we got Ralph Squads on the way here for Jibber. Glennie's popping to behind heavy cover now with the fuel point. Sandbags just in time here before the Jeep struck them like a, well, Jeep through the front, window of a store. Jeeps tend to be rather impressive in that sense. Punies pushing southwards there, led by Gefreiter Ulrich Schmitz. As he pushes in there, pushing further southwards, Ralph's going in here, going straight for the southern nations point, home to hideaway with the Americans. We got the enemy force up north, and we got the Kampf when being attacked, assailed even here by Jibber's Jeep. Machining very precision, of course, the machine gun does have a good shot at it. If it does get veterans up, he has an even better shot at it here. But there you go, Jeep being caught in on a bit of a crossfire between two German elements there. And Bob, the Jeep driver, has to get out of there.
Territory sector claimed by the enemy.
Bit more damage on the Jeep here. Taking a fair bit more damage there. God damn it, Bob. Step on it. Get us out of here. Up north, the Grenadiers are basically there. Further up north, Pony swing up behind the massive mansion there. Grenadiers grounding the point here. Moving up the point here. Point there seized. Nothing further. We got a 3rd Ralph squad there for Jibber. Skirmishing around the Simpson Grenadiers and the Rifleman here. Heavy cover there. Not finished. Almost got the victory point ready to neutral up north here. Scouts pressuring up northern flank. We got the utility package on the way there for Jibber. No sign of anything further here yet for him. Might see another Ralph squad first. Might see the Infant Support Center now. Or we, of course, might even see fast bars. There's a few options here for Jibber to pursue in his, mission of American dominance. In the south here, Pioneer spotted by the Jeep here. Heavily damaged. Self-repair still on cooldown. Ralph squad almost got the munitions point here. Cutting off the other munitions point. And we got here for Caosak, the Luftwaffe company. Bring in some heavy support here from the 2nd Fallschirmjaeger Division. Pioneers here, flanked by the Rifle Squadrons, pushing further northwards. Machining gewehr in the center, backed up with the Grenadiers. But Caosak is definitely a bit extended. There we go, Jibber with the 4th Rifle Squad. They're committing all the infantry reserves in the sector to this battle already. There you go, Rifle Squad caught with info 2 there. 900 to 1200 rounds per minute going in the general direction here. 4th Rifle Squad arriving here to support the front line here of the 1st Armoured Division. The Grenadiers here trying to flank around here, get caught by the Rifle Squad here. So we'll have to see, of course, what it goes for first. A 2-to-1 here could be an option for Caosak. Might even be able to use to take out the Jeep here. Could also go for Jaegers. Even go for the Flak 30. In this regard, there are options here for Caosak, of course, to pursue in this battle. Rifle Squad there trying to figure out whether to cross the road or not. Jeep going up here, flanking info 2 there. Again, aggressive rapid play here by the Jeep from Jibber. Rifle Squad now crossing the road, hoping that the enemy force withdraw, but Caosak is a stubborn one. He refuses to give any ground to the Americans. Machine gun there, getting good shots in the Jeep, though, forcing away. And over here to Caosak, who has, of course, gone for Luftwaffe. He's going for the Fallschirmjaegers. Luftwaffe has seen a significant surge after that previous video, sort of initially featuring Jibber, actually. As more and more people call on to hang on, Fallschirmjaegers are pretty good. Surprise, surprise. So that's definitely lit a bit of a surge. We got some Jaegers out here first, though, for Caosak and the 1st Fallschirmjaeger Division. Bit of skirmish around here, the mansion. Going pretty close here to Jibber's base, hitting the car upon there. Got the Jeep firing back at the Pioneers. MG4 sitting out again. Jaegers will have to see what they go for. I would not be surprised going to go for the Panzerschreck here. The like Ketten Panzerbuchse, though of course he could go for the G45s versus Jibber here. Jaegers pushing north for Sicily from nearby Jaeger Division. There are actually only 2 Jaeger divisions there in Italy. In fact, there are more Gebirgsjäger divisions in Italy than the Jaeger divisions. Anyways, 2-1 there right around the corner for Caosak. Rounds got advancing and they got a strafing on here. Caosak quickly alerting Luftwaffe here what's going on there. Quietly informing them that one of Hermann Göring's mansions are under like threat from Americans. Say what? One of my mansions? Send in zur Luftwaffe. Die Art zur Luftwaffe. Well, send in the aircraft then. Around northern point of the Jaegers. Armored car, they're pushing the route squad here in the south. MD42 catch the route squad there. Grenadiers backing up here. Captain moving in here for Jibber. Armored car there flanking around the captain. Catching him a bit a tight spot. Quickly kicking in the door and seeking refuge here from the 2-1. The lighter Panzerspielwagen. Jeep, they're heavily damaged. We got medical stations up here. We got the motor pool up for Jibber. So, with these developments here, Caosak is now looking in a much stronger position. Of course, he can now start calling in the mighty Fallschirmjägers here versus Jibber, the Green Devils, as they were also known. German forces here of the 1st Fallschirmjäger Division are advancing. We've got Jaegers there catching the Raufcourt around the center. The Gewehr 43 there, ripping into the M1 Garand, wielding a rifleman there. Captain there forced back by the 2-1 Jeep. They're just holding back, knowing if it steps too close there to the 2-1, it's gonna go down. Meanwhile, up here, Raufcourt's there. Getting caught here by the lighter Panzerspielwagen. Of course, in a pinch, Caosak can upgrade it with a Panzerbuchse 41 for a bit of extra added anti-vehicle anti-tank, and that could become necessary as Jibber calls in the M8 Scott self-propelled gun here to bombard the German positions. Fallschirmjägers dropping in here. Raufcourt filling back there. By Wachtmeister Rudi Jäger. In the center here, machine gun about to escape by the Scott. Got veteran one, of course, immediately in there. Go deploying a high explosive shot there right away. Jibber is relentless here against the German menace. And of course, now with the Scott out, the Jeep suddenly feels a lot more confident. Yeah, you show him, Carl. Shut up, Bob. Yeah, Carl. Jäger's heading southwards there. Up north there, 2-1 with the Fallschirmjäger support pushing back here. Will he go? Yes, he does go for the... No, he cancels the Panzerbuchse. He cancels the Panzerbuchse. Ach, nein. Or ach, ja, depending on perspective. Guess he does want to try and use that to counter here the Scott, which immediately is deploying white phosphorus into the tree line there and the nearby buildings. If there were any squirrels there, they're definitely dead now, that's for sure. Up north here, 2-1 catching the Raufcourt here. Yeah, Fallschirmjägers supporting the... Liked it, punches baby in there from a distance. Okay, apparently he can't make up his mind there. Like, you know, he seems like, you know, sort of swing back and forth between, like, wanting it and not wanting it. Instead he goes for the Panzerschreck. On one hand, I understand it's obviously a good upgrade for the Jaegers, but on the other hand, versus the Scott, I feel like upgrading the 2-1 would be more sensible, since the 2-1 is safer from the Scott than the Jaegers and can more easily, I think, hunt down the Scott, whereas the Jaegers might struggle to catch up with it. So, small bit of perspective there, but that's not to say again the Jaegers with a Panzerschreck are a bad upgrade. Anything but. In the south, the Grenadiers class route squad the Jeep here. High explosives again being put from the Scott here as Jibber is laying into the German lines here of the 1st Fallschirmjäger shown around the center. 5th Fallschirmjäger Company. Fallschirmjägers, Jaegers advancing forwards, bit of a mix, obviously supporting the 1st Fallschirmjäger Division of Infantry. Up north here we got the Scouts creeping about here, 2-1 moving to deal with that. Engaging the machine gun on top. In the south here we got the Scott engaging the Grenadiers here, good shot. And we got more Fallschirmjägers here. Caosak dropping them hard like it's on Crete. And Jeep finally goes down. A small bit of relief here for Caosak. A moment of bitter pain there for Jibber. A moment he will never forget. A small memorial jeep will be now forever situated atop his bookshelf, or I don't know where else he might put that one there. Fallschirmjäger's advancing, grabbing the grenadiers, grabbing the southern point here. Scott there, deploying white phosphors all over the place there. And of course, like any proper American, with absolute indiscriminate purview there. Armoured cars trying again, catching the El Capitan there by the center. Fallschirmjäger's routed here as Jibber advances forwards here. Meanwhile, back at base here for Caosak. We're not seeing too much more else. No flak 30s, no sign of maybe a Marder or a Wirbelwind. I mean, a Marder could also be a way to, like, maybe put an explosive end here to the Scot under his command. And there you go, 2-1 down. Good kill here for Jibber. Removes, of course, a motorized thorn in his side there. Leaving him, of course, not much more able to freely control the battlefield against Caosak. And, of course, the question, of course, now will Caosak try and push straight ahead for the Panzer Company, which typically, again, as mentioned in previous videos, is a part of this kind of strategy there. Like, you just rely to a degree there on the LT-40s, the Fallschirmjägers, and then you just rush ahead for the Panzers. Well, of course, obviously, this is what Caosak is planning, or perhaps besides the Jaegers and the 2-1, there might be further deviations here. More white phosphors here, of course, from Jibber. Jaegers pioneers moving forwards here. LT-40 to the rear, the lighter Geschütz. Fallschirmjäger's being bombarded. The Scot again, potent tool here for Jibber and democracy.
Now in enemy hands.
Got more BRs going out here, of course, for Jibber. We got the munition surplus upgrade research. None of the other upgrades research, at least yet. Victory points wise, though, Caosak is leading here over the Germans. Not the Americans, not the Germans. Good use of smoke power here, but Jibber, of course, it is worth noting that besides just popping a lot of white phosphors, though, Jibber is quite adept at using all the barrage abilities available there, at least the smoke barrage and the white phosphors there. Very good there. Most players just focus like one element, but good use of smoke now I find is always crucial. Grenades galore there on the MU42 team, almost taking out the entire lot there, but Caosak's last man there gets out of there. Jaeger's Glenesis Route Squad bars are blazing there again. More white phosphorus. More white phosphorus. Jaeger's Glenesis Force back here again. Caught in a terrible position here. LG-40 shoots and the shot completely misses the mark. Friedrich, how the hell are you aiming? Well, technically I wasn't aiming. That's not what I want to hear. Scott moving forwards here in the south. Pioneers push back with the rifles. There again, just aggressive pressuring for both sides. Troops here reinforcing LD-40s, Jaegers, Panzerschrecks, just Grenadiers setting out, and there you go. Panzer Company for Caosak. Second Scot out here for Jibber is actually not too common. Most players just stick to one Scot and decide, you know what, that's it. But Jibber, of course, is kind of like figured, you know what if I go for two of these things? So Ralph Squad hiding up behind the tree line there. Of course, not the most secret hiding space. There's, of course, Caosak probably has a good idea. Just chucks a grenade. White frost on the LD-40. Forcing the LD-40 back there. Of course, you might have figured, you know, well, it's the same Scot as before, but obviously that was a different Scot. So thumbs up there to Jibber for his mind games. Because, again, I mean that. Like, most players never bother with more than one of these things, which is, again, a bit surprising. But there you go. Good Panzerschreck hit here. That said, of course, Jibber could soon come to regret that, since Caosak's Panzer Company, of course, means he will soon have the Panther on the field, and the Scots, for all their, you know, value, for all their handiness, are not quite equipped to take on a Panther 4. Yeah, because they're caught in a bad spot. They're forced away there. Grenadier holding up towards the victory point here. Scots advancing an NU-42 there, nicely covering the Grenadiers here against the advancing riflemen, but of course versus the Scot, the NU-42 is not quite that handy. There you go, double barrage here. Machine gun team taking staggering losses, but now Caosak and the 1st Infantry will mentally cling to all victory points there. Bleeding out the Americans there, causing a bit of chaos there at the headquarters.
We're down to 300 points.
Around the southern point here, we got nothing hiding out there to maybe surprise here further. Jibber. Back at base, still no sign of the Panzerkampfwagen. LD-49 up north here. Fallschirmjaeger, there's 2 Raptors here. Grenades being exchanged here. Like very passive-aggressive packages. Well, actually, just straight-up aggressive packages. Not passive-aggressive if you're doing it with a grenade.
Chaffee light tank is accounted for.
So,
The enemy has 300 points remaining.
so we got here the Jaegers, the machine gun heading northwards here. Further up north, Raus got pushed for that northern victory point. Jibber knows he needs to stop the victory point bleed there before Caosak established too much dominance here. We got the infantry reserves ready here. Machining gewehr setting up, he could catch Raus here. Further south here, we got Fallschirmjaeger on the fuel point here being pushed back again by that Scot. Caosak wants that Panther 4 and he can go for it now. We got the building here about to collapse. Is Jibber paying attention or is he about to find his men quite toast? LD-40 up, he could knock out the building here. And down it goes. Jibber was not paying attention. A full wipe. And a roaring cheer from the German Truppen. Ah! We did it! Why didn't they leave? Maybe they forgot the key. Yes, that's possible. Scots, they're pushing back. Jaegers, they're getting utterly bombarded. Pioneers, Grenadiers pushing forwards here. A roaring surge here from Caosak and the first Fallschirmjaeger divisions as the first Armoured Division's front line is slowly giving way here. Like a sponge cake. Meant to hold up something it's not supposed to, which includes most things. More White House deployed here. Jibber bringing in an M24 Chaffee, going for a fairly dense light vehicle pool then. Like 2 Scots and a Chaffee for these kind of armored battle group builds is actually pretty unusual, but certainly is interesting. Up north, Grenadier with Fallschirmjaeger pushing there, catching a squad there of riflemen in a bad spot. Machine there getting pummeled by the Chaffee. And Caosak's Panther 4 there is 1/3 of the way ready here. Of course, he could also consider maybe in a pinch to go for the support elements, maybe bring in some Martyrs as a bit of a lower cost option, just provide himself with some more firepower against both the Chaffee and the Scot. Maybe way to punch them down faster. We'll have to see, but it is something worth considering. Up north here, Grenadiers ground the point here. GIs moving in there, BARs at the ready to meet the Germans head on. Preferably though from behind cover. Panzer 4 ready to support the first Fallschirmjaeger Division. North here, Fallschirmjaeger catching Rob squad here with the northern nations point in the center though. Caosak is lining up for another push here. No attempts for some sneak around for the south or the north. Just head on brutality with his infantry, which, considering that's where likely most of Jibber's Scots will be pointing, feels a bit ambitious. LD-40 wiped out here by the Scot. Their great kill here in the south. We do get a minor flank here by Caosak. Smaller infantry group there. Sneaking about here. But the main thrust is nonetheless in the center here. But there's also minor thrust in the north as well there. So it's actually an overall 3-pronged attack with the main effort in the center. Though again, it's worth noting it doesn't really appear like the other efforts looking to really support the center directly. More white phosphorus here. LD-40 has been recruited here. Fallschirmjaegers though need to be withdrawn before they just get absolutely choked up with the white phosphorus here from Jibber. Hands for the spot. Scott here could have gone in for it, but there seems to be a bit of hesitancy here from Caosak. Clearly, he's not entirely sure what's waiting behind further, and we do actually also enter tanking up here for Jibber. Finally, in the center, more white phosphorus. And in the south, Pioneers there holding up. Jaegers moving in, they're trying to catch the Scots, obliterate them. More high explosives there being deployed in the general direction of Jaegers with their Panzerschreck, firing at the wrong targets there. You shot at an American infantryman. Have you seen the size of them? I don't care. They're still not as big as a tank, you Dummkopf. Bit of on the wrong side there. The munitions point still. Caosak maintaining good map control of this. Pushes are forcing Jibber onto the defensive, but Pioneers side here about to get wiped here as Jibber comes in swinging. And Panther 4 there. Subs intense amount of damage. You have the LD-40 in the Panther, supporting the Panther 4. Could take out the Chaffee. No. Panther 4 meanwhile gets knocked out with the anti-tank. And great kill of the Jibber. Massive relief there from him. Jaegers in the center here. Back troops setting out there for Caosak. Can go for another Panther 4 soon. We got 3 and 14 with 244. Fallschirmjaegers in the center matching up against Raft, backed up of course by that MD-42. LD-40 here. Gage for the rifle, forcing that one to withdraw. Scots whooping in there. Valsco flanking in straight to the MD-42. White phosphorus though again to the rescue here for Jibber. Probably doesn't hurt that the white phosphorus ability for some reason actually free. That's probably also something that should get toned down. Jaegers advancing here. Fallschirmjaegers moving to support as well here. Rapid advances, but again, Feels like he lacks something with a bit more speed to hunt down these Scots more effectively. In this regard, the Jaegers just are great at keeping them from being too close, but it's not really helpful at just destroying the Scots, which I feel like is what Caosak at this stage really wants to be done. Of course, at the same time, what Jibber wants to avoid is losing these Scots. He is now within range here of an EC8 Sherman here to further clash with the Germans. Meanwhile, another Panther for Caosak, and the first fighting going to be shoulder here. First armor though. 7th Rifle Company advancing in the south end. We got these catching the Chaffee Scots behind the south point here. More white phosphorus. So much white phosphorus there from Jibber. And further up north here, Brown Squad met by the enemy foe. 2 are not being allowed to go home anytime soon. In the center, 1 little Fallschirmjaeger squad. There's a lot of infantry is forced to withdraw here, as obviously that is never going to work out here. Scots being pursued here by the Jaegers. And we got the LD-40 moving up, owned caught here by more Scots and of course infantry. It's a rather messy situation here for Caosak here. Straight from them being called here to try and support the retreat of the LD-40, and it works out fairly well there. North here, Bravo Squad finally forced off the field here. 2nd Panther round support here, Caosak, and the German Panzerwaffe. So, bit of respite here, but only for a few seconds as the Panther 4 slowly pushes onwards against Jibber. EC8 there close to the front line as well here for Jibber.
Captured a victory point.
Got 227 versus 294. Fallschirmjaeger here spotting the Rifle Squad, forcing it back, and further north, Machine Gun there grabbing a northern victory point.
Munitions point is being attacked.
And we got something a bit extra elite here for Caosak. It is the Starstruppen. 2 thumbs up. A nice solid addition here. Good for shooting the infantry, also good for clearing out anti-tank guns in my experience. I mean, they're just good for anything that's like, you know, not a tank, basically. And of course, if they get a Panzer Strike somehow, I'm sure they'll be pretty great versus tanks too. Scott moving forwards here, bombarding the German lines here. White fossils again. Panzer campaign being repaired. Jibber getting ever closer to the Sherman EC8. Meanwhile, a fresh push here straight into the Panther 4, the Fallschirmjaeger's line of action. We got Grenadiers here with the Jaeger support looking to flank around here. And we got this Fallschirmjaeger Grenadiers moving from north. Starts to be interesting enough in not part of the attack here. Seems a bit of an odd move here. Choose being caught here. Mauled, in fact, here. Brutal push here by Caosak. But again, I feel like the lack of the Starstorm here during the attack slightly limits what he could actually done here. So that's great for Jibber, but less so for Caosak. And there we go. Finally, Jibber's been able to call in the Sherman EC8 here to further apply pressure here to the Germans. There you go, Sherman EC8 out there, sorting your supporting force here. Starstorm there, hanging back. Pioneers meanwhile being pushed to the front line, of course immediately becoming target practice for the Scots. Panzer Kampfwagen there loading into the advancing Americans. EC8 Scots there just pushing forwards. With only 1 Panther, 1 LD-40, it's going to be a bit tough here for Caosak to stop that Sherman EC8, but not impossible. Not impossible. There we go, nice shot there for the side armor. And there you go, EC8 goes straight for the Starstorm, forcing away here. Veterans one, of course, immediately available. No battle group chosen, or ability chosen yet. Fighting around the center continues to be quite fierce here. And quite phosphorus, too. Very phosphorus. Back here, healing, reinforcement, more troops being committed to another center assault here by Caosak. Grenadiers being sent southwards. Has he actually lost a Fallschirmjaeger squad here? Is that just my imagination? We do get another Panther 4 here. It would appear he actually lost one of his Fallschirmjaeger squads, which might explain why they went for the Starstorm there. And so much white phosphorus here in the LD-40. In fact, would appear almost went for like double barrages there. He clearly wants to deny Caosak that anti-tank gun. Meanwhile here, reinforcement healing could of course merge the Grenadiers with the Fallschirmjägers. Panzerkampfwagen for number 2 almost done. LD-40 there becoming an immediate target. Of course, most American guns that can actually aim at it. And there you go, LD-40 goes down. Grenadier starts with now leading the assault Jaegers on the flank here, but it's head on there. We do get a Stuka Loiter here, calling in the Luftwaffe, and they're strafing starts. The American troops being pinned to the ground. Here's the German troops push forwards. quite a pickle here for Jibber. But fortunately, actually, Caosak ends up withdrawing some of his units instead of like pushing forwards in coordination with this, which is great for Jibber, as it means less damage inflicted. Still, he is being pushed back to his base. The anti-tank could be in trouble, and if Caosak could just clear it out, they could even grab it. This could be a huge moment there for Caosak, or at least just destroy it. Panther pushing to the base here. This is disastrous for Jibber. We could see a massive potential wipe here. Even the E8 is in deep trouble. Caosak there has got the opportunity within his hands. Like a really squishy thing, but there you go. Jibber pops white phosphorus shells on the Panther 4, halting it. Second Panther 4 is nowhere to be seen because it got a damaged engine. So, with this, Jibber narrowly set himself a potential GG moment. Now we've got double anti-tank grenades in the Panther 4. Suddenly went from being at a, crucial moment to now being the ones that's about to get crushed. And down it goes. Hell of a savior from Jibber. Talk about a save. There we go. Veterans 1 there. Hold down the activate as well here. But not enough here. And suddenly Caosak has lost all of his tanks here. And Jibber still has yet to lose anything. Disastrous is the only way to really describe this for Caosak. He's not out of this game yet, but he is suffering. And now he's going for another Jaeger squad, likely for more Panzerschrecks. But, again, I feel like with all these Scots, the Jaegers just aren't quite cutting it. Honestly, again, I feel like Martyrs might make more sense here.
Enemy forces have captured a
But again,
victory point.
that's just me. Back though to bleeding out Jibber, at least Caosak is able to leverage one advantage of Jibber still, and that is the victory point advantage. Scots again racing forwards here. And once more, Jibber of course going for the white phosphorus supreme there as he just slams the entire front line here with it. Then he's about to get a Jaeger, a Rav squad up here. That'd be pretty nice there for Caosak, but fortunate for Jibber, but unfortunate for Caosak, it slips through his fingers like something very slippery. Back here, reinforcement healing. Almost healing, he's probably waiting for the grenades to do the merging. So Caosak back in a bad spot. There we go. It is more Panzerschrecks here for Caosak. Jaeger's about to get pulverized here. Another shot there from the Jaegers from the. It's the fresh one. There you go. Grenades are being used to merge here. Jaegers push back. In the south, the Grenadiers routed with the Chaffee here. The front line once more for the 1st Fighting Division is crumbling in the face of the American armored onslaught here from Jibber. And now we got the Infantry Company getting slammed here by the Germany's heat and the double Scots. All 3 of these armored fighting vehicles are veterans here too. Caosak likely setting up for another Panther 4 here. Sending out. Bit of quiet here for once. Bit of like, not non-stop action. Caosak lining up for another engagement this time, though with a bit more left in the south. And not quite too much in the centre, but again, like Jibber's just going to just slam all the white phosphorus shelter. And we got a 3rd Scot in it. Jibber taking this as fast as he can. In particular now with Caosak basically further reinforcing it by going for more Jaegers with Panzerschrecks. Which in a sense really urges Jibber to just go for more like, anti-infantry solutions there. Both Panzerschrecks here failed to make an impact on the E8, either missing or failing to penetrate. Really lucky there for Jibber. And certainly another thorn in the eye here for Caosak. Really a bad spot round to be in here for Caosak. And again, I feel like the Jaegers with the Panzerschrecks just end up being a bit of a miscalculation here by Caosak against the Scots. He's going for another Panther 4 here. He still has the victory point lead, so again, it is possible for Caosak to think still turn this around, but if he keeps persisting on his current, shall I say, tactical approach, I do think there's a good chance Jibber can win this, because the way he's just concentrating into the Scots there is not really benefiting Caosak's infantry living longer than, 5 seconds once they step outside the headquarters, so I think it needs to be both an overall tactical approach change. But I also think he really needs to consider strongly investing into something like some Martyrs. Anyways, pressing forward to the Jaegers, the Fallschirmjaegers here. Jibber, of course, trying to get as much distance between him and the Jaegers there with the Scots. But of course, not too much distance either, since, he still wants to shoot the Jaegers. He just doesn't want to get hit by them in return. But the assault continues, and it becomes another frontal assault here by Caosak. Large squad there getting pummeled with the Panther Force. Starstorm getting hit. They've got lots of white phosphorus here enveloping his men once more in a nasty chemical cloud here. Panther Force are pushing forwards here. Jibber remains firm and steadfast here in the face of Caosak's assault, which once more sputters out like a candle in a storm. Back to Jibber again. It's EC8 here. On that attack, just a Scot here. Looking to close up the northern victory point as well here. For further American conquest. And for us, the EC8. Not looking great here. Again. Seems like Caosak is very much thoroughly stuck to the Jaeger Panzerschreck plan here. And the EC8 is about to hit Victory 3 here to become a true rat pit. Last one in front of the Panther 4. We got the EC8 being forwards here, straight to the Jaegers into the Panther 4. There we go. Panzerschrecks are flying. One completely misses the mark. The other one seems to fail to penetrate. Great stuff there for Jibber. Anything but great stuff here for Caosak. And again, we see once more the head-on assault. We've also seen now he's actually sneaking up on the south side. Much better here for Caosak. Starstorm leading the way here. Backed up with the Fallschirmjaeger. Now we got the X as well here. Panther work support as well. Caosak here going forward against Jibber. Panzerschreck actually goes through. Another rocket here. Slams into the German EC8. White Phosphor though slam. Hits the Starstorm. Obergefreiter Wilhelm schmutzt their needs to withdraw here. We got more Scott. White Phosphor being put against the Jaegers. Just white phosphorus all over the place. Northern victory point claimed by the Americans, even as the Germans trying to claim to the north center one, and the south one has been seized back here by Jibber and the 1st Armored Division. Now regular smoke here. Nice use of smoke though by Caosak there, just a bit late to actually this one. Actually, a bit surprised didn't go for this sooner, doing some of the previous engagements. That probably be able to help negate some of the incoming damage from Jibber. And only some of it because he still like just fire white phosphorus into the smoke. So more smoke being poured here. And Caosak's assault ultimately again falls short there. Back at base here, I'm guessing he's just setting up for another Panther here versus Jibber. We got 139 versus 198. Jibber is starting to close in the gap here between him and Caosak. Starstorm moving up here. And the right from there, get quickly suppressed here. EC8 pushing forwards again here, slamming into there. Go more white phosphorus. Starstorm meanwhile now far ahead of the rest of the force here are just absolutely cut off and are forced to withdraw. As all this is happening, Caosak is launching a major offensive up north here. Grenadiers, Fallschirmjaegers all committed here to claim the northern victory point from those American scouts. Jaegers repositioning machine gun now wiped out here. Sherman is absolutely ace level now here, and your Jaegers continue to just take a massive amount of damage here. Panzerschrecks again here, but once more, they just have to fall back. They just can't stay on the field for long enough without getting pummeled. And again, this is the sort of area where I feel like, you know, the Martyrs probably would do Caosak more good. Good range, good, you know, penetration. And, you know, crucially, not as one in some regards as the, you know, the Jaegers and the Scots. Plus, you know, fairly mobile. Another loiter here. Once more, the Luftwaffe has been summoned forth here. And again, infantry being caught here. Shermans, Chaffee there, getting slammed by the aircraft. Almost got to wipe him one of Jibber's rival squads. Can Caosak manage it? No. Yet all the pioneers got wiped. Assault gears definitely living up to the name, and then some. Back here, reinforcing healing in the south. Starstorm advancing on the southern victory point here. Caosak knows he's like start delivering some heavy losses here to Jibber, but he always seems to somewhat elude his grasp here. Panther advancing here straight into the Chaffee. Great shot. Scots bombarding into Panther, taking some light damage. Panther forces the forceful back here. Stop blocking! We're trying to get out of here! Oh, sorry. Actually, he hadn't recruited the antenna. I think Caosak just realized that, no, they can't destroy it now. And once more, all fixed points has been seized here by Caosak. Both Panther forces, though, are in intensity repairs. He needs pioneers to do that. He could, of course, also drop in some Fallschirmpioniere, but I'm guessing he's not too keen on that at this stage of the match. So we got 134 versus 134, but that is quickly going to change once more in favor of Caosak. See, once more he's claimed to all 3 victory points. Another frontal assault here from Jibber. Scots, Sherman's been brought into line here for the 1st Armored Division for another glorious charge against the Germans. The Grenadiers, of course, are the first target to be hammered here by American self-propelled guns. Scott, they're going for the Fallschirmjägers. Another white phosphorus bonanza here from Jibber. Over to Caosak. These men just try to, like, you know, avoid the massive cloud here of hot, caustic death. Further up north here, pumping seas for the Ralph squad. Panzer Campaign finally got the Scots combining. E8 joining in there. Ace level. An absolute menace. An absolute rat pit. Panzer they completely missed the mark. Again, being forced to withdraw here. 134 is 80 here. Gibber's holding on. Caosak is as well, but Caosak definitely still continues to feel a bit unfavored. There's still no simulating attempt like something like Armada here. Panther will knocked out. We got these racing 40, 8 trap rounds. Leaves the Panther 4 cooking. He's sting and blow there to Caosak. We got snares as well here. Panther 4 with the Demon's engine. Starstorm, Fallschirmjäger's Grenzbringer, and another Pioneer squad gets utterly pulverized. Route squad's about to meet their end here. Could Panther fast here the Chaffee if he wants to, but it's likely he's just setting up more munitions for the Sugarloiters. And there you go. Route squad wipe. Good wipe here for Caosak. He's definitely leveraging what he's got left, creating to a degree, which is the infantry. No, he does Panther Faust now, the Chaffee. He does Panther Faust. He's been pushed off, but American forces have snuck up here and grabbed Northern Point. Now we got the Jaegers moving in here. EC8 there. Just forcing the Jaegers back again. Caosak just can't easily maintain control here. He's bleeding quite horrifically. Panther 4 the new repairs. Going for another Panther 4 here for Deutschland. Northern Point being seized by the Ralph squad here. Soon he's going to have back to triple cap on Caosak here. And we got one Ace Scott here with 14 kills. Definitely not shabby. Back here reinforcing healing. A lot of healing needed here. A lot of healing. A lot of reinforcements. Back at base here for Jibber. Not much else going on. 96 versus 80 here. Panther 4 was good to go. Panther 4 can... Oh, you're not cancelled. It's still on the way there. Dispatching the Fallschirmjägers and the Starstorm with the important task of getting back to Northern Victory Point. We got one. Actually, he's gone for 2 Chaffies now. Interesting choice here. They're not necessarily bad, but it's not typically see Chaffies this late into the game. But there's a tank, like, if you get enough of them, they're definitely not bad at all. Panzer shoots bases in the south. Second Panther advancing. Squatted by a few Grenadiers. Got 66 versus 80. 63 versus 80 here. Pretty tough here for Caosak. Ralph squad falls back. Jaegers advancing. Got another Stuka here. I imagine this is going to be what Caosak's going to bet all of his money on at this stage. Is that one Loiter to turn the tide against the Americans. Jaegers getting shredded. There go. The Loiter's called in. The Luftwaffe comes flying. And there you go. Chav is almost knocked out here. Straight from runs hit. The Shermanese hit, not doing too much damage. White Fossils on the Jaegers. Forcing to withdraw here. Panther 4 here being swarmed by Chaffies and the Shermanese. The 80 other Panther in there. Go another strafe, but it's not enough. Far from, in fact. And now the Predators fall upon the Panther 4 here. Swarm of steel against one lone Panzer here. Got one of the Chaffies, but there's still the EC8 to contend with. Got 37 versus 80 here. Caosak's forces are in tatters. And it's certainly tough to tell at this point how he could turn this around. A few more strafes here, catching one of the Scots here. But it is just not enough to stop Jib here at this point. Ralph squad almost taken out here by it though. Few more hits here. Caosak with another push here. Jaegers, Pioneers all advancing here. South side, Grenadiers moving forwards. Starstorm north here. I think he's sort of remembered that he's got them up there. Jaegers creeping up here. Then use the ambush ability to get close here enough to the Scots to hit them. Got one of the Scots. Only took him, you know, a long time. Got the other Scot racing southwards here. And he's going to try to again and make use of all the, you know, ruined terrain here, all the craters. He's going to infiltrate through them, at least attempt to. There you go, get spot here as they grunt out of them. And we got another easy 8 out here for Jibber. And there you go, that is it. A GG. Game over here from Caosak. And with that, the battle is over. America stands victorious against the German army. A fierce back and forth fight here. But yeah, I think Caosak's overall issue is just like relying too much on Jaegers with Panzerschrecks against Scots. I think, again, maybe early on, like, just trying for that Panzerbuchs Armored Car could help a bit, or maybe going for Martyrs could have been another way to, like, you know, push down here against Jibber on that particular strategy. Would have had the risks involved, obviously, but I think would have certainly been less manpower intensive. Of course, another option would just been more smoke, but also more flanks. In this regard, I do feel like Caosak got a bit too obsessed with just taking head on, which made it much easier for Jibber just to shut down these types of attacks. So there's something to consider. I mean, he was also close at times to just, you know, actually beating Jibber there, but ultimately, again, I felt like just there was something that had to really push through all of this. So there you go, though. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment, tell a friend, tell a family, but not your enemies. This is Imperial News. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye, everyone.